Hey guys, I found this really cool song. I just wanted you guys to hear it. I heard this for the first time today, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Put these beats on.
I gotta restart it. You ever heard this?
Yeah, I've heard this song.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
To all you Regs, welcome back to the podcast. To all you Shinies, I think I said that wrong, but welcome to the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed to the 1313 podcast YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you're following us on all of our social medias. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to support us in a bigger way than just subscribing, you can support us on Patreon. Link is in the description below. And join the Discord.
Woo!
Yeah.
How's everybody doing this week?
Enjoying Andor again. It's just evidently getting better, boss. And Jacob didn't like this episode.
No. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I was like, okay.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've had a long week.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I got my laptop reset this week. I had to get it like factory reset because there was a virus.
I can't wait for you still to lose all of the audio for this episode.
No,
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
No.
It'd be so funny.
Let's hope we don't work off camera audio again.
I don't want. I think we'll actually no. We will have very nice, good quality, mediocre content going forward.
Yes.
Woohoo! Nah, it's gonna be mid.
What do you do?
Before we get into this episode, please, if you haven't already, at the beginning of this month, we released a vlog that showed off the entirety of our Comic-Con
And it's
experience.
probably here in this corner.
Somewhere.
Right here.
Somewhere. So if you haven't watched it already, please go give it a watch. I put lots of time
The corner.
into it. I think it turned out pretty cool.
It was very nice, actually.
Did you watch it, Jackson?
I did watch it, actually. I really thought it was
What
funny.
did you think?
I like it. I'm gonna be honest. Leitendi, I know you watch right now, and I might just hit you up for an order that root beer, bro. I was kind of sitting around
Sprecher
on a
root
Friday
beer?
night, dude. I was like, I'm kind of craving that. I
Actually,
kinda
can
am.
you send some cheese too? Because that block
was
cheese that
so
you sent,
good.
that was like, they must sprinkle some crack in that because I was like,
was
man,
crack
oh
everything-
man.
Everything that you brought was absolutely fantastic. So please, ship us more, please. But
I will pay handsomely.
Thank
Send
you,
me
guys.
moldy cheese.
Thank you to everybody that showed up for the con, and if you haven't already, please go watch that video. I think it's really cool. I'm very proud of it.
I think the vlog did a really good job of piquing other people's interest who didn't make it this year, that were considering already, maybe considering coming next year. Now they are really wanting to come next year. So
And
Hopefully, I'll be able
We
to
have-
make it next year.
very ambitious, big plans for next year too. Hopefully, we will be double the size in booth that we are now.
yeah,
But that's not for me to get into details about.
that'll be for a later date.
Yes.
But, but, Andor. So you guys liked it. I'm
Yes.
mid on it. So
Loved it.
I want to hear what you guys have to say. Why you think it's so good, and
Okay.
then I'll tell you why I think it was.
Check me out.
mid.
Check me out. Have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
A little bit.
So I feel like now Andor's at the point where it's working like Game of Thrones. It's constantly going back between these characters, and that's why there's those constant jumps. Like, I only finished the first season of that show, but that's what it does the entire time. There are these big named people in other sectors of the country and whatnot, and the show just has to constantly, like, even sometimes rapidly, like how this episode worked, go back and forth to catch the whole timeline of events up to one point where all the characters in some way are going to meet. And so I feel like that's what Andor's doing. It's speeding us up this episode on the timeline, getting some things out of the way to be like, okay, by the finale, that's why these characters are in this position. So I was really a fan of that. I was a fan of a lot of the things that we saw too in the episode. Again, like I said last week, these are episodes I'm not rewatching. I'm watching them one time through because I feel like it's more enjoyable that way. This isn't something rewatchable like The Mandalorian, because when you think about The Mandalorian, you have an episode 1 week that's very action-packed. You have a few episodes, really, one where it's major action, and then you have a minor, and then kind of like a travel/setup for what the next like arc or finale is going to be. And again, like what we've been saying repeatedly on the show, this is a constant build up to a big event, and then it's going to fall again, and then it's going to work its way around until it rises again. And
You sound like a chiropractor right now.
But we're going to see some big conclusion, I feel like, by the finale. This isn't building up for nothing. So I'm really intrigued to see where it goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, to put it in layman's terms, of course, this isn't an episodic show where it's like every episode is its own story. It's kind of like how the Clone Wars was. This is one solid story that's all leading up to something.
Yes.
I just think these 2 episodes, I'm going to say the F word, they feel like filler. Because it feels like things that could have been happening at a little bit more of a rapid pace, or things that just aren't that important were being shown. And it's driving me a little cuckoo.
I think this episode was great because it really established the Empire as an oppressive regime in a way that we've really never seen it on screen before.
Wow.
The things that the Empire does in this show to just regular people is completely and utterly stripping them of every single liberty that they have. Yeah. And I think that this episode did it in such a way that maybe some of the things that they did were the same as other things we've seen in Star Wars before, but the tone is completely different. Mm-hmm. You get to see the effects of what these things do to the people. I mean, between Dr. Gauss, is that his name?
Pretty sure.
Dr. Doom?
Between him and, just what him and Dedra do to Bix, and what they did to the shop owner, and just their willingness to just throw people's lives away with the shop owner, and then what they're doing in the prison. They're changing the rules around. What happened on 2? What happened on 2?
Yeah, see,
the whole build up, it was just, to me, it just made me like the Empire is something to be feared. For the first time in a long time, I have felt like the Empire is something to be feared in this show.
Or even in the ISB headquarters when they're talking about that rebel pilot and whatnot on the ship, they're coming up with this entire scheme to make it seem like an accident, and the Empire really didn't whack this person in the first place, even if there's mass civilian casualties. They don't care. They're killing this one dude. So like you said, now there's actual weight. Like how in the last episode we saw how the Empire is overstepping it in terms of policy. Now we see how they're overstepping in terms of action. So that's what I kind of liked contrasting the 2 episodes.
It's funny because I actually, when I was watching the episode the first time through, and the doctor was explaining how they got this like audio system that they're going to hook Bix up to, like, and how that originated, I was thinking in that scene, Jacob's going to think this is really cool. I was like, because I don't know, it's just, they're taking the screams of dying children on a world that they obliterated, altering the pitches to make them more susceptible and more scary to like the human ear, and like more irritable to the human ear. And that's what they're doing. And they're just going to do it until you either go crazy or until you admit to the information that they're looking for. And to me, just seeing the panic on Bix's face, you don't get to hear the screams as the viewer, but like seeing her reaction to the screams, like that, again,
that was whack.
The acting in the show is phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
All I gotta
it's
say
so
is,
good.
She just not prepared. They could put that thing on me and I'd be like, all right, guess Infinite Annihilator just dropped a new album. Guess we go and listen to it. Like, I don't know. I get...
Jacob really being that guy right now. He's like, I could beat it. I could definitely take it.
Dude, I could definitely, bro.
I could take it.
Dude, I got hit by a car and I got up. I stood up. And I asked the person in the car, are you okay? I'm invincible, bro. I am him. I am that guy. But
you're not that guy.
I'm that guy.
You're not that guy.
I'm that
Trust
guy.
me, you are not that guy.
Mentally, I'm not that guy, but physically, for some reason, I am that guy. On the inside of my brain, I'm brutal.
He's not the hero we want. He's the hero we need.
What happened on level 2? Are they actually signing, or are they
It's
doing
like
something?
so it's their own language that they've come up with to
Spacing.
communicate with
Okay.
each other.
The whole thing with the prison, I feel like the prison is the only thing that's really important because, one, it's the only thing that's really following Andor, and it's the only thing that feels like it's actually leading to something.
Yes.
And 2, with the stuff, nobody knows where he is, so it's like all the interrogation stuff, it just kind of feels like it's all for naught.
They figured it out now. they're gonna find him like soon.
How?
Because in this episode,
Just because they said that he shaved his beard and they knew that he was connected to the Aldani event doesn't mean they know where he is or where he went and that he's in prison now. They don't have a new like rescan of his face to show or to look at. Heck, half of the people haven't even seen him. And I also really don't like what they're doing with Cyril. I feel like he was like kind of a main character for the first half of the show. I feel like he's taken such a back seat, and I just kind of feel like seeing him feels really useless.
Cyril said, "Light of a bidet." To Dedra. This man thinks he's in a Shakespeare play.
He literally was
My
like
man said,
this with Dedra. I was sitting on my couch. I was like,
I was watching that. It was so
I was
cringe.
cringing
It was
so
so
hard.
cringe.
simping over her.
It was so
"You gave me a
cringe.
promotion.
I
I
feel like
owe you my life."
at this point, this is going to set C-Roll almost over to the edge. Now I agree to the point where he could turn to the rebellion just because the ISB is like, no. Every single time he keeps going up
No,
to
I
them.
think
Or maybe he'll be stupidly persistent.
No, he's gonna be stupidly persistent. That's gonna be his whole thing. I think at some point or for some reason, Dedra's gonna die and he's gonna take her spot.
See, okay.
I think Dedra is the big bad of the show.
You do?
Mm-hmm. I think she's going to perish at the end of season 2, but I do think that she's going to be the big bad of the show for Cassian.
Mm-hmm.
See, I mean, I definitely agree with the fact that the stuff that we see with Cassian is the most important because that is what's driving the story. But that's what I mean, like, by the time Cassian escapes, all these other characters are going to do something, and it would just make sense if they explained it. Like, the Mon Mothma stuff really doesn't matter that much in my opinion, besides the fact that, like, they're having issues working the money to get into the system anyway. So I think the dude that she's with is going to get caught. But at the same time...
He's dead. He's absolutely dead.
Yeah, all these characters are propelling Mon Mothma to realize you need to support the rebellion at any cost because she's still kind of taking a back seat and being all like, okay, like maybe if I do this and that and I poke around, peace will be restored again. But she doesn't understand that.
I think Mon Mothma's whole thing is really boring just because we know where it ends up in Rebels, where she publicly states something against the Emperor, and that's when she fully is like, I'm going over to the Alliance. All this stuff right now, it's like, it's the dramatic irony of knowing what's going to happen to her that's really killing her arc. Because it's just like, I feel no weight to it. Nothing's going to happen. She stays in the Senate and stays in her position long enough for her to speak out against the Emperor. Yeah. So it's like, I just don't feel any tension with like all this money stuff because nothing's going to happen to her. Like maybe there'll be like a mild inconvenience of some investigators coming to her home and then she's like, and then they go, oh, clear, and then they leave, and then that's it. But, like, I don't feel any tension with Mothma's arc at all. It was more interesting at the beginning when she was communicating with Bootstrap Bill. Bootstrap Bill, in his own little shop, because I felt like, oh, she's actively trying to seed this organization, and now it feels like she's just trying to take a back seat to hide the money that she's gotten from the organization to spread it out. And it's politics in an annoying way for me.
And I feel like the politics it's the world building for me that I like. I like how they deleted all the political stuff out of Revenge of the Sith because they thought it would be too boring for the audience. Sure, it might be the boring part of the show, but at least in my opinion, we get Star Wars just world building and knowledge in general about how the post-Empire Senate works, how people literally do not care about what you're proposing.
I feel like that's the problem, is because there is no republic, there's no warring sides. No matter what she says, people are just going to tune her out. It's not like the people are actually making a decision, because that's, the Emperor has full rule, full reign over everything. So I also feel like seeing how the Senate works, it's like, I feel like they could have shown it like once or twice, and it would have been chill, because it's like, I get it, they don't care what anybody has to say.
What if the Emperor's in it later?
I doubt it.
I think for me, the Mon Mothma stuff is a pretty similar story to, for anybody who's seen The Boys on Amazon Prime, one of the main characters, Huey, he is the same way as her. He wants to do things the right way and like the morally correct way. But I think that Mon Mothma's story is very similar to his in that you can fight all you want sometimes to do what you believe is the morally correct way to get the result. But there comes a point where you have to either change your ethics towards something or like do something that you feel is immoral because not because you want to do it, but because it has to be done or it's what needs to be done. And she is kind of rejecting the premise that there is a galactic civil war going on.
Mm-hmm.
She is rejecting that premise. She wants things to be done in a diplomatic way, which is very Padme. You know, it makes sense. She was on the committee with Padme in episode 3. You know, she remained very close with Bail Organa and stuff. And I really would love to see where Bail Organa is right now, because
He's hanging out with Obi-Wan, bro.
or maybe like get like a piece of his story, because I wonder like how on board he is with the rebellion. I feel like he's on board with the rebellion at this
100%.
point, you know, and he's
Especially
been
from
since the
Kingdom.
beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like with Mon Mothma,
You watched his son get killed by clones. Of course he's not for this.
that's not his son.
In
That's
episode 3?
That's George Lucas's son. The actor is George Lucas.
Yes, but it's his kid in the
it's-
movie.
Yeah, it's Bail Organa's
That's why they
kid.
want Leia.
That's the whole reason why he was there. It's to pick up his son from the temple.
I think, no way, I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, that's Bail Organa's son. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
George Lucas's son, but no, that.
Yes,
why else was
George
he
Lucas's
there?
son
Why else
plays
was
the
he there?
kid.
And why else was he like, no, when some random little kid dies?
Yeah.
Because he was going to see what was going on at the Jedi Temple.
Pretty
and
sure
he
that's
sees
his
a
kid.
he sees a Padawan die.
No, that's his kid.
I'm
Pretty
looking
sure that's
this
his
up.
kid.
I'm pretty sure.
Dang. Fake fan. The deer. For context, we were watching a deer trample somebody on TikTok. The amazing world of things that you can find on the internet.
He was born in 29 BBY. He was being trained by the Jedi.
Last name ain't Organa.
That's what I'm saying. His last name's not Organa.
No,
Might
bro,
have just
he-
got clowned on the live.
No, he's not. Yes, I was right. It's not Bail Organa. It's just a random Jedi kid. And he sees a random Jedi kid get killed by clone troopers because he showed up to the temple to see what was going on because it was getting attacked.
No, you're gonna tell me that doesn't look like Organa, bro? That's definitely his son.
Bro, I
that
have it right
definitely
here.
looks like. Bro, pull up a picture of Bail Organa.
Born to Sembrick and Ashiel Skamini
The
on the
13
Midrim world.
podcast
of-
is fake news. Those guys don't know anything
about Star Wars. Let me tell you, they're the worst I've ever seen. The worst podcast. If you watch anybody else, you'll be better off.
So you're gonna put these two side by side, and you're not gonna tell me that they look alike, bro? Dude,
What do you mean by that?
the resemblance is uncanny, bro. Here, wait.
What do you mean by
Let me
that?
pull up another picture of Bail Organa's son here, bro.
For a minute there, I really did think that my whole existence was in question. I thought I was tripping
Dude,
for a second.
here's him from a different angle. He looks just. Your phone turned off. He looks just like him, bro. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Actually, that's very
he
factual.
looks
now that I-
just like him.
Yeah,
So
I see it.
It's just the lighting is wrong.
Yeah.
It's definitely his
Right.
son.
That is not going to make any sense for audio listeners.
Anyways,
Audio listeners, love you to death. Watch us on YouTube
so
or watch us on Spotify.
That is true.
So I wanted to talk about with the Andor episode, the old guy. I think his name's like Olaf.
Yeah. The prison and the most stuff. So let's
The
just talk about
snowman from
prison.
Frozen.
He
He's a burden.
I mean, it's sad
Oh,
though,
please.
because it's sad because I feel like my man, he's been here for so long, and he's an older guy,
Yeah,
and it's already been
exactly.
established already. It's been hinted at that he's slow on the roll a little bit with the working.
And then he's losing his mind, and it's like, oh no.
And then I just the whole thing with what's going on 2,
Yeah.
I got the impression right away that the whole sector had just been, they killed all the prisoners.
Yeah, that's what I assumed automatically. I was like, they definitely got capped.
they got zapped. But
Fried.
they I like that Andy Serkis's character is so focused on completing his
job
that he really is that afraid of the Empire that he thinks they're always listening. And even when you have characters like Melshi and Cassian who are telling him that the Empire really doesn't care, that why would they? Because they just need to make sure the floor is on zippy zappy, the floor is lava mode, and they're not gonna do anything.
Exactly.
They're not going to put cameras up and listen in on, what are these random prisoners, these petty thieves talking. No, Empire doesn't. They're not high profile. None of them are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that realization where he comes full circle happens in the death of Olaf, which was just for me, that was a shock at least, because the medical dude just came over and was like, yeah, there's nothing I can do. And
My
I
man
was
just
like,
euthanized him. He
and he's
literally,
like, we're just going to kill him. And I was like, what? And even the guy was just like shocked. And that's where his frustration came out too, because they just kept calling him like this guy or like whatnot. And he was just like, his name is like Olaf and whatnot. He refused to call him that because he only saw him as a thing, you know, instead of
he's
a
also a
person.
prisoner there. He's not a doctor like working there because
Well,
he didn't have
exactly.
shoes on either.
He's the first aid guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But no, I think his switch really came over when the dude was like, "What happened on floor 2?" And he's like, "This guy got freed because his numbers went down." And then he appeared on the floor the next day because they're recycling people and moving them to different floors.
Yeah, so that's why
Instead
there's
of- you're-
5 different floors.
there is no freedom.
You never escape prison, especially with
know.
the increased sentences, because I guess that for the Empire, that would make more sense. If you increase people's sentences exponentially, then you have to run less of a risk of people getting out before you can put them back in.
And telling them what they're doing. I mean, we
Mhm.
still really don't know what they're assembling to begin with.
Death Star parts.
I've heard
That's
other
not a
people
bad
say
idea,
that. I've heard
actually.
other people say that.
Well, why else would they not want people to leave this place?
That's a
They're building
good
it as
point.
fast as possible. I don't feel like Star Wars could ethically now show because in Legends it was rumored that the Death Star was built by slave labor by Wookiees. I don't think they would feel too comfortable showing off slave labor of Wookiees in multiple properties, like with Solo and then in this as well.
Yeah.
So I think it makes better sense, especially when Cassian describes you as like, we're cheaper than droids. They're basically slaves, is what he was saying. And it just makes a ton of sense, the fact that they're not leaving ever. They're going to different floors. They're
And they
basically
can just
working themselves
euthanize
to
them,
death.
and no one will ask or care about them.
Yeah, because nobody knows where they are.
No one knows how to get to them. They can't contact
It's not
anybody
like they
on the
get
outside.
visitors.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah,
that's a
Even
good
Bundy
point,
had it
too.
better.
To me, I feel like this episode really brought the tension up. I was expecting them to escape prison this episode, and I like that
Mhm.
Cassian.
I think that's going to be the finale.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
feel
think-
like we're gonna get more build up.
Because how
in the
many
last-
episodes are there left in the
that
show?
was the
3?
9th episode, so we have 3 left.
So yeah, I feel like we're gonna get, because they can't do a 2-episode finale if they escape next episode.
They could do a 2-episode finale into even more stuff. I don't know.
Never know.
Unless like they escape next episode and then it's like, oh, the big prison break led by Cassian Andor, and then everybody's like, there he is. And then,
Well, I
like,
think what's going to happen is, because they've established that Cassian shaved his face when he went to Aldhani, and that
Yes.
was there for a reason. There's no way that they just had that plot point and then it just left it at a dead end. I think that Cassian is going to escape the prison. Dedra's going to go to the prison, or the
Yep.
ISB or somebody. They're going to have video footage, obviously, of the prison riot and the prisoners escaping, and they're going to find that face match with Cassian Andor,
I agree.
and then they're going to figure out, and they have to steal Imperial craft to get off world. So they're going to probably
Or they
track the
swim.
Imperial. There's those whirlpool outside.
Yeah.
Well, we
You
only
know
saw
when
that
you
on
getting
one
out?
side. We didn't see that on all 4 corners,
It's
did we?
like a complete water area, Jacob, and all the facilities are like in
Have
the
whirlpools
water.
around them.
Well, yeah, I saw that it was in water. I thought there was only like, say this computer's the facility. I thought there was only like one whirlpool on like one end.
No, it's
No.
it's actually like a hexagon, and there's like
Yeah.
every side has a whirlpool
I
on
don't
it.
Star
remember.
Wars Pentagon.
The hexagon.
Wait, what is that? What is that starfighter doing? It's coming right for us.
Yikes.
Let's
Uh,
not.
So they
It's Cassian Andor.
yeah. So I think
It's
they're
the
gonna steal.
rebels.
They're gonna steal an Imperial craft.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the Empire is going to be able to track them. I don't know if he'll go back. I don't know, because if Melshi comes into the story at some point here, I think that he is going to help Cassian as to where to go next. My
Maybe
question
the
is
Saw.
he working directly with the organized rebellion, or is he working with Saw's rebels?
I think
Probably
Cassian's
Saw.
gonna recruit him because we already saw Cassian plotting with another guy this episode on like how
The
the
new
lifts.
guy.
Well, how the lifts don't
Oh, yeah,
have
that
the
guy.
electronics on them, so that you can't get zapped on anything that moves. So I think Cassie and him are gonna plot, and then the other guy's gonna join him, because I think Cassian's gonna get roped into the rebellion shortly after this, because he's gonna be like, the oppression is crazy, and he's gonna join the rebellion like officially.
I mean, no, that does make sense.
I think he'll return back to Miami Beach, maybe get back to his house, and he might get that
No.
manifesto. I think the manifesto from Nemec is going to come back into play. That's why I say that.
Oh,
Because I think
okay.
that there's a lot of stuff in this show that seems like little pointless things, but because the writing has been so good on this show, I feel like there's no way that these little tiny things are just getting left at a dead end.
Did you guys
here and there
notice
and
that
wherever.
the intro music was different?
I did not.
Same melody.
Oh,
it was
no,
the same
you're right.
same main melody, but it had a different counter melody.
Oh, cool.
So it was like a little bit more like tinny, a little bit more electro, a little more fresh, and nice and fresh and EDM.
Very ocean,
Very good,
very fresh,
very Andor,
nice.
very Star
Oh
Wars.
yeah.
My favorite quote in Star Wars is when they say, "Luke, you are the new hope to the Star Wars."
My favorite quote is, "We did it, Luke. We won the Star War." Han Solo, 1987. It's my favorite quote.
Arguably, my favorite part of the episode was the realization that nobody's listening, and just like him like screaming that. I was like, that's cool.
I liked that. I liked that a lot.
He's trying to get his point across to the whole block.
Nobody is listening.
I don't know, like the Bix stuff. I can't believe you didn't like that. I thought it was so
interesting.
tense. Like the tension was so high.
I thought it was cool. I just didn't find any tension in it.
They take the shopkeeper out, and the guy that's in charge of Ferrex is like, "I want to hang him. I want to."
I
And
know.
Deb's
I was like,
Deb "Whatever,
she like,
whatever
What's the-
floats your boat."
Well,
You
it was
know,
like,
because people
okay,
mean nothing.
my one thing for it is she's one of the only female leads in this show, so I don't see them killing her off that easy. Like, she's more of a side character, but she's definitely central to the plot, and I don't see her getting killed off like that easy just by the torture.
I don't think the torture's going to kill her. I think they're going to end up. Well, they're going to end up killing her either way. She's
maybe
dead
the
either
riots
way.
on Ferrex are caused by that guy's hanging.
Well, you don't know that she's dead either way, because remember, there are shots in the trailer of an uprising on the planet. They might do that, and she
Fair.
breaks out in that sequence of events.
I don't know. I'm kind of holding on to the theory that
Oh,
Cassian's
they're probably gonna go
gonna-
hang the guy in the square, and that's what's gonna cause them to start.
That's what I
rebelling.
just. That's what I mean. He just took my whole flow, bar for bar, word for word, stole my whole thing.
Shout out to the girl in my design class today that I showed her one of my designs, and then she went and drew the exact same thing.
That's why
Bar
you
for
should have,
bar, word for word, he stole my whole thing.
should have copyrighted it. Should have trademarked
I
it.
said, "Hey," I said, "you can't do that. I just drew that." And then she said, "No, I'm putting arrows on it," and made it slightly different.
Tough.
Clown move.
Snooze, you
clown
lose.
move.
Yeah.
Steal my
So
ideas.
Honestly, is
Honestly,
there a whole lot else that you really?
yeah,
need to
there's a
dis-
ton that I wanted to talk about with this
Okay.
episode.
bro.
Yeah.
This episode, there wasn't a whole lot
I
to
felt
it.
like we did kind of.
That's why I didn't like it, because there wasn't a lot to it. It was just very static.
Damn. There's no Luth in this episode.
Yeah.
No,
There's none.
no saw.
No, but they take the shop owner, which I didn't realize till this episode that the shop owner, like that he was like the shop owner of the place where Bix worked.
Yeah, we
I
said
didn't.
that
I didn't
last
put.
time.
Yeah, I didn't put two and two together.
Well, I think he's the manager, because I almost said Clea. ISB lady definitely said that she has zero uprising and that she was a business
Deborah.
owner. So I think she owns that place.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, they're gonna hang him in the square. This is just another example of like how the Empire's just.
But that's what I said.
Word for word, bar for bar. That's what I said.
And then I don't know that for me, like what's gonna happen now with Bix, because she's just stuck there, and they're gonna do something with Marva too. They were saying that in the ISB headquarters.
No, they were
Just
just saying that
watching.
they were monitoring her, because if Andor comes back, that's where he's going to.
I'm saying that she's going to come back into play. Like they have a plan for her. It's not. I think it's more than just they're just using her as bait. I think it's more than
see.
that. I
Just
think
because they said they didn't want to interrogate her and kill her.
I think they're going to completely dust her when Cassian does come back, because I think he's going to come back if she's not already dead when he gets back. Because again, I'm holding on to this theory that Cassian's going to get back to Ferrex and the riot already happened, and the Empire just laid waste to the entire town.
I think that if they were gonna end the prison arc next episode, and that's when he escapes, the final 2 episodes have to be the uprising, with the final episode being Andor back on the planet, finding like everything that's happening. Jackson and I are playing footsies.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's.
Can you tell Jacob is uninterested with the Andor episode again?
Well, I just don't think there's anything more to talk about.
I mean, I feel like I do agree with Jacob. We really did hit on a lot of plot points, unless there was other small details you wanted to bring up.
It's not like
Felt like there's not that much else.
I was
to chat
disappointed
on.
that the rebel pilot that they pulled up was absolutely nobody.
Yeah, because I thought the world had been mentioned before, because I paused the show and I looked it up, but these people on Wikipedia are fast as hell. Like,
They
the
are.
planet was already listed on Wikipedia as being an Andor on that episode and timestamp. Because I thought there was a connection.
That's a
to something
fan-run
else.
website too.
But
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
They
I was
are
like,
on it,
dang, you
dude.
fellas are quick.
Yeah, they're on it. No, I thought I mean, I don't know. I'm very interested in all these characters, and I'm very invested in all their stories. And for me, like, we were talking about the Mon Mothma stuff for a while, but for me, I feel like it's actually really interesting. I mean, I'm looking at it as this stuff is building up, yes, but I'm constantly coming up with all these different ways that things could go bad because they're building the tension in every single one of these plot points. I mean, we've got this shady dude that the banker is talking to Mon Mothma about getting involved with, and again, it's back to her idealism. She doesn't want to get involved with shady people because it's not the right thing to do. Because she wants to do things the right way, but she's also taking out money secretly. So it's like, it's your frame of what do you feel like is right and wrong. And for her, she feels like it's definitely wrong to work. I don't remember his name, but like the shady guy that we're definitely going to meet next episode.
Probably.
But I think that the Empire is going to take care of the banker guy, because I think that the husband or the daughter or both are going to blow him in, because there was the whole scene with Vel. I mean, we have the whole reveal that Vel is Mon Mothma's cousin. And the daughter, it kind of confused me because the daughter like refers to her as aunt, but Jackson and I were talking in the car. I think that's, people have like family friends and like the kids of the family friend will call them uncle or aunt or whatever. I think it's one of those situations. But yeah, I mean, we get that whole reveal. So now we know that Vel is also no longer on Ferrix. She dipped too because Cinta left, and so did Vel. So now there's none of those guys, or none of Luthen's people are there. So now Luthen has officially no idea what's going on Ferrix now. He just knows there's...
Did they say that Val left? Or Cinta, I mean?
I thought she left last episode.
No,
I thought that was the whole thing.
Cinta's still on Ferrix.
She was watching out over at Andor's mom's place.
Oh, she's dead too then. Yeah, she's absolutely dead. She's a goner. Yeah.
They don't know that she's there.
I think all the people on Ferrix are dead. That's my end theory. But yeah, I mean, we have the whole like conversation in that room where we see that I think Vel is taking like a back seat now in the plot. Or is she? It's kind of like, what is she doing next?
Have to see it next week.
Gonna have to watch next
I
week.
feel like there'll be more to talk about next week too, because now I
Daniel
feel like
really cut me off.
Well, yeah, I have something I want to talk about that isn't Andor.
Y'all really cutting me off. I wasn't done.
What else could you possibly talk about with this episode?
Okay, I'll be done.
Good. Now I want to bring up a more important discussion, one that's been plaguing my mind for about a week now. Who is this Inquisitor that we see in Tales of the Jedi? What is he? No, see, I hate that you... Well, no, because, okay, my main thing is that after Ahsoka decapitates him, spoilers, by the way, after he gets decapitated, his head deflates.
It's just his mask, they said.
Who said?
Lucasfilm said.
And what?
They said it was just his mask.
It was his whole head.
It was his mask.
Mask and hood.
Yeah, his mask and hood.
The part that's attached to your upper part of your body. This is like the head. So what?
What relevance does this have?
I wanted to talk about it because in Legends, in Star Wars Legends, there's different aspects of there being like creatures made out of literal clouds of mist and like basically smoke monsters.
I definitely don't think that's it. I think you're thinking too far into it.
Well, how else would it be? Because the only other time that we see somebody's corpse fall into the ground is seeing Obi-Wan's death.
I think it was for the sake of like story, because we don't know who this person is. I was hoping again like it was Barra Sophie or somebody, but if it was somebody like they wanted you to know that this character was dead without showing you that they got their head, like that they got decapitated or something, because at the end of the day, it is an animated show.
Yeah.
So we don't need to see somebody's decapitated head in an animated show rolling on the floor. So they give you
why would they hold it back in this? Because we saw Yaddle get crushed by a door and then slashed in the head. We saw Ahsoka's
no
mom,
decapitation.
We saw Ahsoka's mom stab whatever the deer thing was.
The Kaibuck.
The Kaibuck.
The implication of a stab.
We've seen
the implication of a stab.
We've seen in the Clone Wars the implication of an entire row of people getting their heads chopped off by Savage Opress.
I'm pretty sure when
We've seen-
Disney bought Star Wars, and especially in Rebels, that was the biggest point that they had for episodes was no decapitations, like, visible.
I mean, they do with
think
their
I remember
toys. They
watching
don't let
that
you
in a
have
video
swappable
essay.
heads visible on their
Yes.
toys.
So then
Mhm.
why even show it if that doesn't make sense?
They
if
didn't
it's
show
just-
it. It was
they-
just implied.
the whole apparatus of
I
this
feel like
area
this is
on the
just
character
too
hit
much.
the ground.
I feel like this is
the
just
mask
too
falls on the
much.
ground, the lights on the mask go out, and the mask flattens out. It is an implication that the character has died, and without showing Ahsoka slashing
Yeah.
their head off.
hmm
That's what
Yeah.
I think. That's what I think it genuinely was.
I think you're
I-
thinking into it way too much than you need to.
I think it was some form of misty being. I think the red eyes were actual eyes, not some animatronic mask.
I think
Because-
you're thinking about the door is blue in the book because it symbolizes such and such. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's how I feel like you're looking at it.
it doesn't make sense for a mask and a hood to come off without there being like at least the cast shadow of a head following it, because that's how they
don't
they got
care.
around. That's how they got around it with decapitating Jango Fett. Which, by the way, we saw Jango Fett get straight up decapitated. And
Because that was a
episode 2.
movie. That's different, and that was before Disney bought it.
But let's not act like this show was catered to kids, though. This show was very, very adult in its themes and the way that it was shot and what the story was. Little kids don't care about the fall of Count Dooku. Maybe we would because we're like super fans.
You're looking into it too much. I'm just gonna stay at that.
I think I'm with Jackson on this one. I think
I-
it was
you're
it
really
was
just
symbolic of
Mountain
the
out of a
character
molehill.
dying, and I really think that was just it. Like
Yeah.
that was all it was.
So you guys don't want to have any mystery or anything or any theories about what this Inquisitor
Nope.
was or who it was. We've never seen a character design anything like this.
If
We've
they
never
care
heard
to
of
give
a
us
character
more, they'll
anything.
give us more about it if it's important. But if it isn't important, then they won't.
And you don't even want to theorize about it?
That was
No.
I mean, that's my theory. Is I mean, I guess if
Yeah.
it is, if you call it a theory, that's my explanation for it. Is that's just he dead, and that was
Yep.
just his mask, and that
I
was how
agree.
they showed
Yep.
this character's dead without showing you his corpse on the floor.
Yep.
But if that was it, then why is there... Okay, there's an initial impact of the hood, and then it deflates. If it was just the mask, don't you think it would just kind of go all in one thing? It hits, and then you see it go...
Yeah, but the lights on the eyes go out too. Again, I think it's just to show he did.
Yeah.
Well, that could be like the life coming out of it, but then you could also be... You guys have
You're
no
thinking into it
imagination.
too much,
You guys have
Jacob.
no love, no imagination. You guys are cringe. Straight up cringe.
So the person who wanted to talk for 5 minutes about deflating animatronics.
I
Like,
mean,
this is
cut me
banana.
off talking about Andor to talk about a damn hood with a bird mask. Come on now, that's too easy. Come on now, that's too easy. Now let me talk about Mom Mothma and Belsar.
Okay, that's it.
What? Are you cutting me off?
Wait, what? There's nothing more to talk about with that Andor episode, bro.
You got messing my energy up.
There's nothing
my
more to
energy.
talk about.
I agree on Andor.
You gonna leave me hanging?
Damn.
Let's scratch from the ball, sorry.
What? Anyway.
Sorry, if you guys do want to actually have a meaningful conversation with me about Andor, join the Discord, because then we can actually talk about it. Or play Xbox. We play Battlefront a lot of nights. We could do that as well.
That's fair.
Or just watch the episodes. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the 1313 podcast. We hope that you enjoyed. If you haven't already, please make sure that you're subscribed. You leave a comment. You leave a like. Let us know who you think the Inquisitor was. If you think it's a ghost in a
Don't
suit.
talk about the Inquisitor in the
No, I
comments.
think it's cool.
No, it's cringe at this point. Jacob.
Why?
Thank you all for watching.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
If you
Double
have
goodbye.
a mother, text her you love her. Goodbye.
Tell her I love her too. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Hum da da hum da da hum dum dum da. Hum da da hum da da dum dum da dum. Ba-do 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 ba-dum ba-ba-dum ba-do ba-dum ba-do ba-dum 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 dum. Hum da dum hum da dum hum dum 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 da dum hum da dum hum dum dum dum. Hey, I'm ba da dum da dum dum. Hum da dum da dum da dum dum. Da da ba da dum dum da ba da ba da da da.